And joining us now is our psychologist, Jackie Engel. Good morning.
Good morning,
It's a real problem, isn't it?
Yeah, look, kids can get traumatised by watching all the images over and over, and kids are really concerned about their immediate world. So it's important to keep them safe at all times, that their immediate world is okay, it's stable, keep routines going and let them know that they're all right.
Does the impact on the child, I guess it's an obvious question, vary depending on the child's age?
Yeah, I feel really sorry for kids because they just pick up on the feelings and the emotions, but they don't have the cognitive framework to understand it. You know, we're spending all this time on media coverage to understand it in our mind, but kids don't have that ability. So absolutely, like, you know, toddlers and 3 to 5 years of age, you don't need to let them know all the information because they don't see it.
Jack, if a parent is going to manage the problem properly, I guess the first thing is for the parent to manage their own levels of fear and anxiety.
Absolutely, kids will pick up on, you know, whether mum or dad's stable, and you need to manage your own fears first before you speak to your children about it.
Okay, so let's just highlight some of the points you're making here for parents.
Do respond to what children ask. Rather than give them information, respond to what they're asking you, to let them take the lead and find out what they know. So ask them questions. You know, what do you know about the war in Iraq? Monitor how much media they watch. You can do that. One of the viewers said you couldn't, but you can. You can turn off the television.
I like this next one. Be honest and available.
Yeah, be honest and available. It actually doesn't hurt to talk about the war, but it can hurt to not talk about the war.
All right, and let's have a look at some of the don'ts.
Yep. Don't get over emotional, as we said, this fuels instability.
Control your own emotions.
Don't speak about graphic details of war. Don't say how people die. Don't dismiss their feelings or say they're being silly.
I think this is a good one too, that one you've just mentioned. Don't just say, yeah, right.
Yeah, right, or get over it, or, you know, don't worry, don't be silly. Our kids need to have their expression. You can sit down and draw pictures with them and let them express how they feel if they're speaking about the war. Don't lose empathy for other countries. This is a really important one, you know, even if you disagree with the war, show empathy for the different sides and make sure it's known that it's a complex issue. And lastly, if a child has nightmares, isn't sleeping or eating, is defiant or overly clingy, seek professional help.
I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
At what stage do you say, well, it's now out, I can't control this anymore, and I need a third party to come in and help?
If symptoms keep going for up to around a month and they're overly defiant or overly clingy and they want to be around you all the time and they're feeling nervous, seek professional help and support.
I guess that same sort of advice applies beyond the home. I mean, teachers, I suspect, are probably encountering the same sort of reaction and responses once the kids are at school and, you know, you have news time and things like that.
Yeah, it'd be useful to find out what your school is doing and how they're communicating about the war to kids so you can keep it consistent.
All right, thanks for that.
Take care.
Good to see you.
And after it's my state of rest, and if I'm not in that state or if I'm contracted inside, then I'm in a level of stress. Not high stress, but I think we walk around in a state of stress and we don't even know that we're in it because we're so busy rushing around.
And are you seeing more people who come to you and say, I am stressed out, I need help?
All the time. Yeah, all the time. You know, people don't even know when they're stressed, but they just know something's wrong. And I'm sort of saying, well, firstly, let's change the belief that stress is bad. And I think stress is a good thing in that it's an indicator when something's out of balance in our life. So we need to sometimes stop and say, okay, yeah, I am stressed. So something's really out of whack. You know, let's use it. We actually get stressed about being stressed.
So,
you know?
so you would dispute those who argue that it's stress is an imagined thing. I mean, you're saying it is real.
Absolutely.
Can it be self-imposed, or is it something that is forced upon us by an increasingly stressed out society?
Both. Absolutely both, because we respond to our environment. So we have an internal environment and we have an external environment. And I think that as a culture, we're very external focused. So we are looking outside of ourselves to make us feel good, when in actual fact it works the other way. Is the answer to real rest and peace is inside and not outside of us.
So can you only manage it, or can you eliminate it?
I think you can only manage it. In that, we are going to have things that are out of our control throughout the rest of our life, and we're not going to be able to, you know, stop negative things happening, but it's how we respond to those in life that counts, rather than actually trying to control what happens to us.
All right, so before we look at how you control it, or how you manage it, let's look at this diagram, because that goes part of the way, does it not, to explain?
Yep.
All right, well, here it is now. I think it's here. Here it is.
Yes. Okay.
So explain this for me.
I'll explain this. We are made up of, you know, thoughts which happen in our heads.
Right.
We're made
at
up
any time.
At any given time.
Yep.
Lots of thoughts happening. we are made up of feelings which actually happen in our body. And it's amazing how few people actually know that feelings happen in our body and feelings don't happen in our head.
What sort of feelings?
Fear,
Right.
sadness, anger,
Yeah.
shame, guilt, and joy are the 7 rough core feelings. And off those we have millions of others. But they're the basic sensations that happen in our body, and often we don't know what's one and what's the other. And these feelings and thoughts affect what we do, our behaviours.
Okay, because they've taken the diagram's gone, but the
Yes,
third point was behaviours.
Yeah, so it all influences each other, and we actually need to sometimes do something or think something positive in order to change our feeling state. So we fall into this trap of sometimes waiting till we feel good before we actually do something positive or think something good, which is sort of doesn't work. It's like we're being a victim to our feelings or stress. Yeah.
All right, so how do you at least manage it?
Yep,
and,
okay.
And if possible, get rid of it.
I think we need to own it. Because first what happens is we don't own it. We say we're never, ever, ever stressed, and then we go home and we kick the cat or snap at the kids.
Yeah, but you see, that's interesting, because some people will say to you precisely that. I'm never stressed. Talk to their work colleagues or those who are part of the family, and they'll say, he's always stressed. She's always stressed.
So it's about self-awareness and about becoming aware of what are our indicators internally. Like for me, I get a bit agitated, I get a bit snappy, you know, if I'm a bit stressed.
Yeah, sure.
And that for me is an indicator. And I think if you get it on a mild level, then you can stop it ever getting too far.
Right.
And I think that we need to look at, you know, internally, what are our sensations? So, you know, when we're stressed, we typically hold our breath.
Okay, now that graphic's gone again, but if we can bring it back, because you've got this several points on managing stress.
Yes, that would be good.
Okay.
Okay, so tips when stressed. Breathe. You know, we often hold our breath when we're stressed. We don't even realise we're doing it, or we breathe very shallowly in the upper area.
Okay.
So if everyone can go around for the rest of today and actually notice their breathing and actually check in, are they holding their breath much today? That'd be really good.
All right,
so
and thoughts?
Breathing. Thoughts, you know, we always think really negatively. We need to think a bit more positively. I call it the what if syndrome. We always go into the future and say, what if this happened, what if that happened, and rev ourselves up.
Right.
We actually need to come back and be a little bit more positive in, actually right now I'm okay. Which leads me to the third point, reality checking, in that sometimes we get so overwhelmed in our own head about the stress and what we've got to do. We need to reality check with someone and say, you know, is this in perspective, or am I just getting a bit out of control here?
And quickly, space, expression, and...
Take space. You need time to actually clarify the best space that we have.
Smell the roses.
Smell the roses. The only space we have nowadays is in the toilet cubicle. And expression, healthy expression is the most important thing. People go to the movies now to cry. They don't
You mean think good thoughts?
Expression is in express your feelings.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we go to the movies to cry nowadays. We don't actually stop and let ourselves express ourselves. And the last one there was a physical exercise, offload the energy if you can't do anything else.
Okay, have a good day.
Yeah, same for you.
Stress-free.
I'll try.
Case in the United States.
Yeah.
But in Australia, even today, there's a stigma in going to see a therapist, and certainly in admitting, you know, I'm going to see my therapist today.
Look, the she'll be right, mate, attitude's not working anymore. We need to increase our capacity for resources and for ways to cope. We're not taught at school. It's okay. Go and get some assistance. You know.
We should teach these sorts of things at school, shouldn't we?
Absolutely. Don't get me started on that one.
No, but I mean...
Absolutely. I totally agree.
We teach some subjects that are fairly, even by today's standards, very obscure.
Absolutely.
And do little in preparing the next generation to cope with the pressures of society.
Yeah, and yet there's an assumption that we should know how to cope.
Yeah.
When we've got leaky taps, we call a plumber. There's no problem. But yet when we've got emotional problems or we're just stressed, you know, we sort of feel like we should fix it.
So is that the key factor, identifying the stress within oneself?
That's the first step, to identify it, and then look at other ways of coping, or look at other ways you are coping with it. Are they working for you? Are they creating more problems?
And look for help.
Look for help.
All right, good to see you,
Thanks,
Jack.
Steve.
Jackie Engel there, and if you'd like more information on that segment, you can find it on Jackie's website. The address is on your screen now, JackieEngel.com.